Hello internet people, welcome back to the channel. We've all heard about conspiracy theories, right? You know, like JFK wasn't assassinated, his head just did that. Or how aliens created the first femboys. Or how cats are actually demons in disguise. Because how can a creature that takes so well care of hurt me so damn bad? Tell me why. Why do you hurt me? Huh? Oh, okay. I guess. Oh, sorry. Anyway, today I'm doing a different kind of video where I'm going on Reddit and going to r/conspiracy theories and seeing if any of these new conspiracies can convince me of some wrongdoings within our world. I haven't kept up with conspiracy theories recently, so I thought right now would be a good chance to catch up on my crazy people out there. And just as a warning, these conspiracies are people's hunches with little to no evidence. But I mean, like, that's what conspiracy theories are though, right? Anyway, yeah, take all of these with a grain of salt and don't believe in them too much. Maybe. We shall see how it goes. And then one last thing, I'll be rating each one of these theories from either very possible or debunked, just to indicate where I stand on these theories. Alright, without the way, let's get into some deranged Reddit thoughts. My theory behind the reason some people have experienced visions or prophecies. Modern science has shown that some people do not have an internal monologue and or are unable to form visual representations of concepts or objects in their head. Like most things, there's degrees of ability to this. Some people are great at it, others not so much. My theory is that a number of prophecies or visions are people who are either completely unable to form visual concepts or have an internal monologue or sit on the fence between able and unable. Experiencing an internal monologue or concept visualization. If you've never experienced this before or even heard about it, and then suddenly you're hearing voices and see pictures where none were previously, boom, word of God or messages from the ancestors. If this happens during periods of unconsciousness or high stress when the subconscious has been shown to come to the surface, this becomes even more likely. Just for clarity, I'm not saying that the lack of internal monologue or concept visualization Just for clarity, I'm not saying that the lack of internal monologue or concept visualization are the same thing or even linked, just that they could be both be independently responsible for this phenomenon. Alright, if you don't know what this guy's referring to, there's this chart where you can measure how well you can imagine or like conjure up stuff in your mind. And he's trying to attribute the fact that if you can imagine stuff well, then all of a sudden you can. That's where people are getting their visions / prophecies from. And I personally love this theory. It makes a lot of sense, especially when you think back in history when science wasn't as advanced as ours and people mainly relied on others to seek their fortune or like see the future basically. But let me play devil's advocate real quick. So the explanation is that these visions come from people experiencing an internal monologue / visual representation for the first time. That's the key word right there. For the first time. My counter argument is, what about people who have had multiple predictions / prophecies pop up in their heads? The biggest and best example I can think of right now is my man Nostradamus. This dude has so many prophecies that he made a whole entire book out of them. And if we were to use the logic of the Redditor, we would have to either like mind wipe Nostradamus every time he made a prediction, or basically he would have to like hit his head on something and get amnesia every time he made a prediction, just for the criteria of the first time to be met. And doing those two things back in his time seems very difficult to do, so I think this theory is very possible, but only in some cases. Which, in the case of Nostradamus, I don't think this was the case for him. But let's look at the comments and see what other people think. Okay, or it's just drugs, which is fair. I mean, drugs could play a big part into this. And I was going to talk about psychedelics and how those could have connection to having visions, but I think the connection there is pretty apparent. I mean, psychedelics is mainly a visual drug, so there's nothing really to explain there. Nope, I've had messages in dreams, and I assure you I have both an internal monologue and imaginary visual sense. Now this guy just fucking stinks. I mean, like, he's just sucking all the fun out of the theory and like the hypothetical of even being a possibility. So he just sucks. This guy just sucks, and we should burn him at the stake. But thankfully, OP has a backbone, and he says this. So your argument against the theory is that it doesn't happen to me, therefore all the rest of humanity is exactly the same as me. Theory debunked? Exactly. Thank you for reading my mind. I just fucking hate people like this. Like, oh, I'm not having this issue, so nobody else should be having this issue. You know, like, oh, it's not happening to me, so why is it a big deal? Like, the world does not work that way. Fucking people are dumb as fuck sometimes. Mental illness should also be considered a factor, IMO. Again, another fair point that could add to the theory. Mental illnesses like schizophrenia and depression could have a big effect on your psyche, so it would lead to hallucinations / visions. So yeah, that's definitely a big part that could be possible in the theory. With all these thoughts and comments in mind, I still think that this theory is very possible. There could be many ways that people get visions from the future or prophecies, whatever you want to call it, and this may be just one of them, you know? Unfortunately, we will probably never know because there's not going to be any money spent to try to find this out because, I mean, there's such a niche like theory that like kind of don't need to know it. And yeah, so we might just never know. Also, this falls into the realm of pseudoscience, so like we'll never know. What can you do about it? Anyways, yeah, I think this theory is very possible, so let's just move on. I have been seeing a wave of hate posts after identifying as trans on TikTok, X, Instagram, etc. I think I found a possible reason why, and it could be on purpose. I made an account on mainstream social media for the first time. At the start, I had normal posts, normal interactions, and used the apps for months without anything unusual happening. Then one day, I started identifying as trans. Within minutes, I started getting shown Nazi-related edits and extremist content. At first, I assumed it was just their algorithm making a mistake. So I tested it. I created 10 new accounts and slowly built the realistic histories on them using different emails, phones, numbers, normal activity, and even different devices. I tried to make them look like genuine users before changing the type of content they interacted with. I did this over the span of a couple months, never using the same IP. The same pattern kept appearing once the accounts became focused on trans-related content. The algorithm started pushing similar Nazi edits, extremist posts, or suicidal trans people, or even just telling trans people to KYS and edits of trans persons' memorials being vandalized. I also compared the accounts where I interacted as a cis person versus accounts where I interacted as a trans person. The accounts focused on being trans seem to get pushed towards this content much faster. Maybe it's a failure on how these algorithms handle identity-related topics. Maybe engagement-based systems are pushing controversial and extreme content because of outrage gets more views, comments, and time spent on the platform. It makes me wonder whether these companies are unintentionally creating these cycles, or whether the pursuit of attention, advertising revenue, and engagement leads to systems that amplify harmful content simply because it performs well. Something else I noticed, this seemed to happen specifically when I interacted as MTF rather than FTM. I'm also wondering if being in the UK could be a factor, although I have no way of knowing. I've also been recommended hateful posts targeting trans people, including posts promoting extremely harmful ideas. What confused me was that some accounts spreading this content didn't even mention trans people directly. They were just generic extremist content that the algorithm seemed to connect to my identity. I have a few theories, but I don't know which, if any, are correct. Number one, the algorithm is incorrectly assuming that trans users are interested in hateful content because it is bad at understanding context. Number two, the algorithm is pushing extreme content because it creates strong reactions to keep people engaged. Number three, these recommendation systems may have been exploited by hateful communities to target specific groups. And number four, it could be that something much simpler or something much deeper that I don't understand. I'm not claiming to know the exact reason that this happens, but the pattern I experienced was disturbing, and I want to ask anyone if they noticed anything similar. Has anyone in the trans community experienced algorithms suddenly pushing hateful or extremist content after interacting with trans-related topics? I'm sharing this because if others have experienced it too, people should know that they aren't alone. Man, that's a lot to read, but it needed to be read. I mean, after seeing a lot of social media apps be like exposed for pushing extremist content, I would not be surprised if a lot of these talking points in this post are 100% true, especially on apps that have a lot of engagement or have a very concentrated audience. Let's take, for example, X, the everything app, aka Twitter. Yeah, sure, there's a lot of dumb, goofy posts on Twitter, but there's a few terrible things that remain constant throughout it. For one, the amount of bots and like NPCs that use AI to rage bait the fuck out of people. Two, people who grift ideals that they don't really truly believe in just to get a bit of money on the side. And lastly, MAGA/Donald Trump dick riders. With this in mind, you can see that the OP is probably a prime target for a certain type of post being pushed upon them, at least on Twitter. And that's the crazy part, is that it fucking works, you know? Like, the algorithm is doing this job to rage bait the fuck out of people with certain type of posts, and it works on all fronts, you know? Whether they want to be on the platform more, or get engagement, get more AdSense on it, anything. Anything and everything that a social media app would want, they get out of getting people mad and riled up. They trap you in a loop where you either feel incredibly good or incredibly terrible, and most of the time it's the latter. But as long as you interact with the app, they're still getting paid. It doesn't matter if you're commenting, liking, or even just scrolling. Your time is their money. And if you don't understand, then let me just try to explain real quick with a little analogy or metaphor, whatever you want to call it. But let me just explain it real quick. So yeah, let's make up an analogy of how social media engagement works. So you wake up on a chilly autumn day and you think to yourself, you know, today is a good day for a walk, you know? Maybe I'll go to my coffee shop 2 miles away and I'll just walk there, you know? Just for the vibes. So, you know, you get up, you throw in a fit, something a little fly, so, you know, just in case someone you know is walking too. And then you start heading out to the coffee shop that's 2 miles away. So you start your walk, you get a mile down, and you see a couple ads on your way there and think to yourself, damn, I kind of don't want coffee anymore. So this is where you have a decision to make. You either walk a mile back to your house or walk a mile somewhere else to get something else that you might want. And this is where social media gets their money from. Because either way, no matter if you go back home or go get something else that you saw in an ad, you're still engaging in that walk. They get money out of the walk you're performing. Whether that be in a negative or positive direction, no matter where you walk, they're still getting money out of that because they're posting ads on the way to any way that you walk towards. Alright, rant over. Let's check out the comments. My wife is a researcher that did some tests into this last year on a Finnish social media. One identified as left-leaning, one as right. Same result for both. The one on the right, almost normal content, nothing extreme or far right. One on the left, Nazi content, violence, hateful stuff. You're not imagining it. Now the question of it's deliberate or is the algorithm not understanding the context, that's another question. Now, this makes a lot of sense. I mean, like, if you show far right posts to far right people, they're not gonna engage with it as much as far left people because, like, they already agree with the post. They might like it, and that's it, you know? They're not gonna comment on it most of the time. But yeah, if you show these posts to, like, far left people, they're gonna engage with it far more because they're getting riled up, they're getting mad, they're wanting to engage with the post, whether that be hatefully or neutrally, you know? If they want to make a stance, they'll make a stance on it. And like I said earlier, social media apps don't care if your reaction is either positive or negative. They just want your engagement and words typed on the screen. That's how they get their money. They just want you trapped in that cycle. Ah, yes. Very normal to have emails, phone numbers, and devices ready to fake 10 accounts over months. I'm willing to bet that there's a lot of cross-contamination on these accounts if they are real. Following the same people, interacting with the same post, interacting with each other, etc. Alright, we're not gonna argue whether the OP's post is a normal thing to do or not because we're in the goddamn conspiracy theory Reddit, okay? Half of these people are unhinged, so I don't care if what the post says is normal or not. I'm here to react to it. But I do want to talk about the possibility of cross-contamination across all the accounts that this OP made because, like, it's very possible that, like, a lot of, like, the IP of, like, the devices could be connected somehow because we can barely untangle technology as is. If you don't know technology as a normal person, then you're kind of fucked. Trying to, like, be anonymous from two different devices. So I feel like if the government knows one of your devices, they know all of your devices. So it's kind of hard to just kind of masquerade as different people. So, but yeah, I'm not 100% sure on how the algorithm reacts to people having multiple accounts, especially if it's from the same network as well. I'm just gonna end up guessing that the OP's conclusion is not very good, mainly because, you know, it's kind of hard to untangle technology as is. All of your devices are so intermingled that as a normal person, you just cannot untangle them all. My phone here is probably connected to my computer, even though I never actually connected it to it. You know, it has a Bluetooth function, so does my computer. So, like, having my Bluetooth on for both devices, like, they're near each other, they know what's up, they can talk to each other. It's very hard to have multiple devices, multiple IPs, and multiple networks ready to go just to test this theory alone. Anyway, I think that the testing on this theory is very iffy, but with that in mind, I still think that this theory is very damn near factual at this point. We know that the algorithm basically just feeds us what we want to see and what we don't want to see, especially, is to get a strong reaction out of us and to keep us engaged with the platform for longer periods of time, no matter what. You know, they know our interests, they know our likes, they know our fucking breathing patterns at this point, so we just kind of gotta take it at this point. Like, there's nothing you can do to change your algorithm because, you know, it's catered to you. They kind of have the ultimate hack. And like I said earlier, there's very many companies and apps that have been exposed for pushing very extremist content or propaganda. So all we can really do as a person is to think logically and not fall for propaganda, you know? So this goes for everyone, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or any other party in the world. All you can really do is just perform your own research and just think for yourself. Damn, this is getting kind of heavy, so let's just move on to a different theory that's a little more goofy. Basketball. WNBA is a money laundering scheme for the NBA. Why would a league that posts millions of losses each year still be subsidized by the NBA? Unless those reported off losses are there to be offset or to wash money for the NBA. I have no evidence, I just suspect it. This one's funny. But yeah, I just feel like people just be typing shit nowadays. Like they don't think for 2 seconds or like do any kind of research. They just be typing, you know? I just want to point this out. Mr. Angry Publicker, please just look up what some of the words you're typing means. Just this once, just look up what money laundering means and you'll probably have everything click in your head and probably hopefully delete this post because it's dumb as fuck. Anyways, yeah, let me define money laundering real quick. Money laundering is the act of hiding the source of your dirty cash by running it through a legit business. So tell me, how the hell are you supposed to wash money with two legit businesses? You're getting revenue from one and losing money on the other. So, I mean, I don't know how you can really wash money or how any of that cash in the first place is dirty money. Like, where's the dirty money at? Like, you gotta have dirty money first to launder it, to even have a reason to launder money. Look, the only crimes they can really accuse the WNBA for is being shitty at basketball and tax fraud. At least with tax fraud, like, you can, like, make a semi-reasonable claim that they're using the WNBA as a way to lose money so they can, like, have a tax write-off for the NBA. But even then, like, still pretty dumb to even accuse them of such a crazy crime, you know? Like, they're a big organization. They can afford to lose money. This is like saying, like, oh, Microsoft is using Xbox and the Game Pass to intentionally lose money or to launder it. Like, no. That doesn't make any sense. Look, the only reason they have the WNBA is so they can reach a wider audience in the long term. That's pretty much it. They are okay with losing that much money because they can afford to lose that much money just to get more people either to the WNBA or the NBA. Plus, the WNBA salaries are way lower than like the NBA players' salaries, so like they're probably not losing as much money as you think. Anyway, let's see the comments. Maybe they think that even though they are losing money on the WNBA itself, it attracts enough female viewers to the NBA to make up for that. Nowadays, it's all about diving into your untapped markets by any means. Maybe refusing to subsidize the league could also lose the NBA a lot of supporters, proponents of equality. Just a few thoughts. Your thought isn't crazy to me either. Exactly, it looks like the WNBA is growing steadily as far as viewership, attendance, etc. So they could be investing for future profitability the same way companies like Amazon, Uber, Facebook, etc. operated at a loss for years before they became huge money makers. Exactly what I'm trying to say. Just because a business is losing money does not mean that there's a nefarious reason behind it all on why they're still up and running or why they're still like running the business or side business in general. A business has to be able to take some hits before it can be truly profitable. That's how most businesses start anyways. I don't know, this theory's kind of dumb. I just want to talk about how silly it was. Anyway, let's just move on. Oh yeah, wait, I kind of forgot to rate it. Well, I think me in the comments debunked this theory pretty well, so let's just call it debunked. My theory on the rights of AI. Okay, so just spitballing after the latest heat wave has melted half of my brain. Climate change is happening, and I see the fact that no really effective policy to stop it has been made as an implicit confirmation that the powers that be actually want it to happen. Population control, dreams of a new world order, or maybe just showing the masses that things are concretely getting worse. So that unpopular decisions that would have been opposed can instead be seen as unfortunately necessary. A few years ago, despite no real concentrated effort, things were organically starting to look up thanks to wider and wider adoption of renewables, solar in particular, which made it look like finally a large part of our energy demands could be satisfied at no emission. With the adoption of e-transport, this would have meant sooner or later a future where a very significant part of our human CO2 generation was nullified, or even reversed thanks to e-axis. What the fuck is he typing? Excess. Oh, he's trying to say excess? God damn it. Or even reversed thanks to excess generation being invested in CO2 capture. Enter AI and its humongous and ever-growing demand for electricity. Any excess power, he spelled it right that time. What the fuck is this guy on about? Any excess power that could have been not generating by burning stuff is being absorbed by word salad machines, which are being shoved everywhere despite little provable benefit. And yet corporations are managing to sell the idea that AI is good and useful so that not too many people question the fact that a larger and larger share of electricity is going to data centers. It might just be that I have a strong opinion against AI, but in my experience, it is so necessary that I'm naturally drawn to thinking that there must be some other reason that is being shoved down our throat so hard. Am I wrong? Holy shit, that guy was fucking typing like crazy. I could barely read that shit half the time. Anyway, disregarding the crazy grammar used by this individual. Yeah, I literally talked about this in one of my other videos. I think my summer sucks video. I went into detail how like data centers and like the huge usage of electricity and water is affecting our day-to-day lives. But yeah, if you want more information about that, go watch that video. I go into way more detail, and yeah, it's just gonna get way worse for us in the long term. But yeah, I truly think that the rise of AI is only happening because the 1% want to suck as much money out of it as possible before the bubble pops. Whether using AI to take jobs from humans or using AI to just run the whole business itself, which in the long run, it's not gonna be good. Also, AI is kind of making viruses that could essentially wipe out all humans without being like noticeable. So yeah, when I mean the long run, I mean like probably the next 10-15 years, because probably won't make it that long, to be honest. So live it up while you can. On that grim note, let's look at the comments. Climate change will happen no matter what. Times are changing. They want to be rulers of the world. Just want to scare you. What the dude? No one in this post knows how to type words. They want to be rulers of the world. Just want to scare ordinary people and control them more. They also try to block the sun and control our weather. The most important thing, at least for me, is to learn as much as I can and have no fear, no matter what happened. No matter what happens. I suggest that to you too, friend. What the fuck, man? You are so fucking dumb. At least they can't type, okay? That's what I mean. They're not dumb, they just can't type. All right, I was with you in the first few commas, but like after the third one, you started going a little crazy on it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, try to block out the sun? What? What are you on about? I shouldn't be too surprised. We're in the conspiracy theory Reddit, so I know what I was getting myself into. People with strong opinions against AI are instantly ignorable for not understanding AI. How about you go AI generate some fucking likes for your opinion, bitch? The fuck? I hate people like this, bro. Oh my god. The reason that people such as myself are so strongly against AI is because we are educating ourselves not only on the good of AI, but also the bad. which heavily outweighs the good in every single way. I've gone into all the bad parts of AI in my past videos, so I'm not gonna rehash it, but I just want to say that your comment is extremely dumb and feels like projection, because I feel like anyone who doesn't really understand AI loves it for some reason, because they don't understand the long-term effects of AI and our environment. With these idiotic comments in mind, I still think that this AI being pushed on us for ulterior motives is still very possible. I think this theory has some good legs to stand on, and I just think it's possible. Almost damn near factual at this point, low key. I'm just gonna say it. Like, come on, we know they're not telling us everything that they know about AI and like every agent iteration that they come up with and have sealed away in some fucking computer lab. So yeah, at the end of the day, I think that this theory is very possible. Officials or bots from other countries try to stir race wars in the USA. Has anyone ever thought of this? The ridiculous amount of racist posts on Twitter seem to be at an all-time high. You constantly see these random unofficial profiles trying to start racial wars with the comments they make. Do you think this is just random racist people, or could it be people from other countries doing it on purpose? Yeah, this is like low-key just a fact of like social media nowadays. I mean, especially with the rise of AI and like monetization on these social media apps being so prominent, I think that there are a lot of people outside the US trying to be provocative in a certain sense just to get a quick buck out of it. Like at this point, they're not even trying to like have a psychological warfare. They're just trying to get money out of these social media apps, because they just be handing out money to anyone at this point. Like if you have Twitter, next time you're on Twitter, go find a controversial post and see if they have a blue check mark next to the name. 9 out of 10 times they do. And after that, check their profile and then check their location. And 9 out of 10 times they're somewhere outside the US, somewhere in buttfuck fucking Czechoslovakia or some random European country or Middle Eastern country or like African country, and they just do it just to get it engagement and to LARP as a US citizen. And to be honest, with the current governing party, we don't really need these bots or officials from other countries trying to stir things up in the US, because things are already getting stirred up by our own fucking officials and politicians, you know? Our own people are dividing us, and having bots from other countries really won't change things at all, because the biggest powers in our government are stirring things up themselves. So like they're already doing the jobs of these bots for them. So yeah, all in all, the same groups, aka like the left-leaning people, will get rage baited all the time on X, and the world keeps spinning. So what can you do? Anyway, enough ranting. Let's check out what the comments have to say. That's not even a conspiracy theory. It's a fact of modern life. US society is under psychological attack by Russian and possibly others operation with 3 objectives: increase social division, decrease trust in democratic institutions, and increase emotionalism and irrationality in general. Other subs like r/disinfo and r/active measures and the like track and investigate it pretty well. Yeah, like this guy and I said, it's just a fact about our lives nowadays, and it's up to ourselves not to fall for the rage bait / propaganda that these profiles post every day. And shit, who knows? They might have already won the psychological war, and we just don't know it yet. It's absolutely the case, and not just from other countries. American far-right extremists do this and have bonnets to do this. Bonnets? Oh, botnets. Oh, I thought I said bonnets. I'm like, the things that you wear around your head? I'm so dumb. He said botnets. Okay. And of course, Elon Musk is a far-right extremist who tweaks the Twitter algorithm to promote that stuff while posting about race wars daily. So, you know, that doesn't help. Lol. Again, this guy's right on the money. At this point, it's not even officials or bots trying to stir things up in the US. It's our own damn politicians and officials that are trying to like divide us. And it's just gross. It's just annoying that they think that we can't see through that. Like he said, Elon Musk is one of them, along with other far-right extremists such as like Donald Trump, Tucker Carlson, JD Vance, you know, the whole lot. And yeah, it's just, no one's a moderate politician anymore. Like, this has to change sometime soon, hopefully, before we're all fucked. Anywho, I strongly believe that this whole theory is just extremely very possible. You, the viewer, could probably confirm that you've probably seen accounts or posts that are trying to like LARP as a US citizen. Meanwhile, they're in the middle of buttfuck nowhere in like Latvia or like Bosnia or some random ass country like that. So the fact that a lot of people, including myself, have come across accounts like these, I'm giving this theory a rating of very possible, because I mean, like, it is definitely 99.9999999% possible that this is occurring. And that was the last theory of this video. Honestly, I might do more videos like this one. It was really fun to research some of the theories and see what people were thinking out there. And yeah, it was really just fun to record this and put my own 2 cents into it. And yeah, I'm already conjuring up ideas of like Reddit videos or like Twitter videos that I could come up with. So yeah, if you want to see those come to fruition, make sure to like and subscribe. And yeah, hopefully you have a good rest of your day or night. And yeah, I'll see you later. See ya. Look at that little boy. What's up, dude? Tired? You're a little pancake. Are you a demon? Yeah, you're a little demon, aren't you? You hate me.